the reason why people avoid creating a business around who they are, around their identity, around themselves as a person is because the success or failure of that business is their identity, like their personal worth.
I'm a creator. I post video content. Now everybody posts video content, but I'm a creator who has intros and outros and great music on my content. Well, now everybody has that, but I'm a creator who drops 5 times, a month. Well, now everybody does that. Well, I do, 3 times a week. Well, now everybody, it's like that same concept of sort of like how we move, like, ants in a, little enclosure is that, like
That's
we're
never
saying,
gonna
it's
stop.
never going to stop.
It's never going to stop. But the people the people that sell their soul, the people that sell the soul of their business, and it's the same way with fitness and wellness, or the people that go for that short-term instant gratification, they put off the long-term. If you're trying to win in a game that can't be won, you fucking sell your soul and you're going to be a sleazy fucking company.
Yep.
Like, you can't win. Business is not going to go away. Fitness is not going to go away. I mean, is fitness going to be the top priority for a lot of people? Well, I mean, it depends. It depends, I mean, it depends on the temperature of society and what's going on and who's looking at your content and who your audience is. But there's always going to be an industry for health. There's always going to be an industry for sports. There's always going to be, it just depends on how it's going to evolve. But if you stick on your shit and you learn to be adaptable, that's why you have to be small and nimble. That's why any people that are just doing anything, that's why my content is so nimble and so dynamic. It's because that's the only way you're going to be able to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Like, I can film all my stuff. I don't have to be sitting here to do what I do.
Right.
I've done that. I've traveled. Like, I just do it. I could do it from my fucking phone. I could do it anywhere.
Yeah.
I could do it anywhere. Like, would it have all the same graphics in this? It's like, maybe not. Or it'd be edited after just to make sure, just to add some certain things. It's like, it doesn't matter. I've always created that invulnerability or focused on that. And I think that's what's important. Like, you do what's right for you, but you have to learn how to be adaptable. People get really too locked into anything or any kind of like structure, or they get really too emotional or stuck to an app, or they only post on Instagram and they only do YouTube, or they only, so you do what you want, do what you're passionate about, and be ready to grow. Be ready to grow and be ready to adapt and ready to change. But that's why I'm so proud of you, man. Like, you're doing it your way with like your experience, but through the different lens.
Right.
You're not doing it I wouldn't say you're definitely doing it better because of experience, but it's not like you ever did it worse. It was just the direction.
The focus.
It was a different direction. I mean, it's not like I started Swolenormous when I was 15 years old.
Right.
You go through different iterations of yourself. You learn different things. You're like, okay, I like this. I didn't like this. It's just a matter of who wants to. I think creating something around who you are and what you personally enjoy. I think the reason why people might, and we could maybe close on this with your final thoughts.
Sure.
I think a lot of people, the reason why people avoid creating a business around who they are, around their identity, around themselves as a person is because the success or failure of that business is, like, in other words, it's kind of like their identity, like their personal worth is resting in the business, when it's not necessarily a judgment on themselves. You just might not be a good person. You might not be a good business person. It doesn't mean that you're a shitty person. Right? So a lot of people that are successful have multiple unsuccessful businesses.
Right.
I'm just very fortunate. I mean, I was doing personal training. I mean, I wasn't like, rolling in the cash. I was doing when I was doing instructing. Like, there were times when I was making a ton of money. Right. I was also working my ass off and fucking miserable. Yeah. So doesn't mean I didn't learn. Doesn't mean it didn't give me the skills that helped me today. It's all experience. And of course it helped me and gave me skills. Like, it made me a master of like a lot of topics. Right. And so in other words, it's like, if something happens with Swolenormous, it's very easy for me to, this is who I am. This is me. Yeah. That's why it's important to do it. That's why it's important to do something that's for you, that you would do. And it's a fucking cliche, but since when are cliches not correct, right? Right. They're cliches for a reason. Yeah, right. And if you do something that you truly love, you don't work. Like, what would you do for free? Yep. It's like, what would you do every day if you didn't get paid for it? It's like, well, I mean, I mean, it's kind of hard to say, like, would I do a daily podcast like religiously if I wasn't getting, it's like, I mean, it's like,
Right.
yes, no, like it might be not in the same way, right? You know what I'm saying? It's all relative, but yeah, I mean, I love doing it. I do
Yeah.
it for 20 people watching. I do it for 120 people watching. I do it for 1,000. It would just be like
Yeah.
super cool. But then, like, I've had more people that watch, like, it fluctuates. It
Yeah.
fluctuates. I've had more people watch that hasn't changed. I still invest in it and time. And yeah, it's like, what would you do for free? What would you do?
Yeah.
And what do you want to do? And what do you want to say? And then just be yourself. And then you never really have to try. That's why I think a lot of times people don't, they don't like to talk about what their stuff is because they don't like to brag. Like part of me sometimes feels guilty for doing shit that I like every fucking day.
Right.
It's like, man, I feel like I'm not I feel like I'm just hanging out all the time because I'm doing a lot of shit. But at the same time, it's just perspective because it's literally just me documenting my journey. That's why everything is such a vlog now. That's why we talked about this. The fucking Swolenormous, I don't know if this is 2.0 or 3.0. Like this is a fucking huge, we talked about it yesterday. It's a huge shift in content, like behind the scenes. There's a huge mental shift that's happening, especially with everything we're talking about with like getting rid of apps and stuff. Like, like Swole fam, we're fucking like, I'm lighting a fire under Swolenormous X. There's gonna be some fucking, it's a fucking storm coming, bro.
Yeah.
I'm amped.
So to put an exclamation point on what you're saying, I think that it's a responsibility that we all have to ourselves to identify. It's like what you said, would you show up every day for a podcast if you weren't getting paid?